I can imagine that the being in the state of a larva, a butterfly larva, is that what they're called? As it is in the midst of transitioning into being a butterfly, must feel really, really, really overwhelmed. Although I do not think that what I'm experiencing today is as dramatic a transformation. It is very dramatic and it is very overwhelming. The stuff that is stimulating me includes deep study these last couple of days of the first 3 chapters, particularly the first 2, of the monumental work by Walter Rauschenbusch, Christianity and the Social Crisis. The first chapter, as I recall, is his in-depth grappling with Jesus as a product, an outgrowth, standing on the shoulders of the Jewish prophets. The second chapter is his divine grappling with Jesus in the perspective of those prophets, which Rauschenbusch takes to mean a man, Jesus, the most perfect man, the most perfect expression of human being, as an outgrowth of growing up with an understanding and an affinity for those prophets, all of whom, those earlier prophets and Jesus, switching to more my words and frame of understanding, they were all of immense humanity, and as such, their acute pain and horror at the injustice, at the suffering, at the joylessness of not only the poor and outcast, but I think secondarily of the perpetrators and the Jewish society more generally that had allowed itself to become so inhumane, hard, of the head and flesh, epitomized by the soulless, the humanity-less scribes and Pharisees. This monumental work, this must be my 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th reading, but with very different eyes now. The last 5 chapters are wonderful, but infinitely less so than the first 2 or 3, as Rauschenbusch, that extraordinary soul, maybe the only true prophet since Jesus himself, the first true disciple since Jesus himself, gets lured away by a false idol. First Christianity in its organized form, and then socialism in the form that was coming on the horizon when he was writing at the beginning of the 1900s. He gets distracted by that, and there's much richness there, but much distraction. Through all of this, for the first time today, I'm seeing that the bifurcation of Christianity into hundreds of denominations and probably 2 or 3 major divides is a function of the part of our nervous system that is activated and drawn to that understanding or misunderstanding and exercised by it. Jesus was exercised by the humanity of the prophets and appalled by the head and flesh accentuation of the scribes and Pharisees. Christianity has been, in its earliest stages, according to Rauschenbusch, also inflamed by the humanity of Jesus, but quickly seduced away by the intellectual delights, the delights of the head and flesh, as the church became organized, intellectualized, and thereby starved the humanity within the church. Today's evangelicals, of which I am not an expert, nor do I think I'm any longer ignorant, are drawn to the same delights. They are our current day soulless. That's not a slander. It's a verifiable proposition. They are drawn to the soulless delights of supremacy and intellectual vigor and freedom from the soul to hate, to enjoy themselves as gods, as the rulers of the new kingdom, that the head and flesh know. The head and flesh only know that part of our nervous system, drawn away and thereby empowering and killing the soul within them. It is all that rules us when we are little children, unless you convert and become like a little child, singularly addicted to the joy of the soul in charge. You will not enter the kingdom of heaven. Well, as you can tell, I'm just a bit overwhelmed, but it's all too important not to attempt to render in this initial video log.